Good morning. Hello, collective. How is your vibe? Ooh, good morning, collective. Good morning. Hello. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Patience, your favorite spirit medium, host of Spirit News on all major platforms. Good morning. Good morning. Life is good, you guys. Life is really good. Sure, things pop up here and there, but I mean, for the most part, compared to where we used to be 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, I mean, we're making some good strides, I think, towards the new earth energies. We're so excited to be here, co-creating with you in this magical way. Thank you so much for all of our day ones. Thank you so much for all our new subscribers, for all the love and support. We're so grateful. So grateful for the warm welcoming, for the warm reception of us. We're so happy to attract our soul tribe, those who resonate. Please follow us. Let's follow each other. Let's start a community. We're happy to bring others in who resonate with our energy, who want to share energy with us. We're so happy to be here. If you want to follow any of our socials, we would absolutely love to have you. You can find all of our socials through the link tree in the description bar. That is there for you to be part of all of the communities. We're very happy to be here using our abilities, learning our abilities with our very own spirit team, the Guild of the Golden Triangle. If you know us, if you watch us, you know we're the hosts of Spirit News podcasts on all major platforms, which is more of the metaphysical information. If you're interested in you're on your spiritual journey and you're going into new earth energies and you're going from the head to the heart, that's where bigger chunks of more metaphysical and denser information's over there. Here we do spiritual development of our spiritual gifts through learning how to read energy with our spirit team, the Guild of the Golden Triangle. Mish, Mirabelle, and Mantis. Everybody has a spirit team. It's part of the process. We are trusting our spirit team's guidance in real time, and we are like doing our own experiment for you to show you that trusting in your guidance is the best way to navigate an earth experience. And we're here doing showing you the evidence, showing you the observations we make, putting all of the nuggets for you on our TikTok that get us through our own hard times, our own traumas, and all of that, and the healing process and what it looks like for us through our own spirit team. So we're doing this for you guys so everybody can see that you are meant to have spiritual guidance. You're meant to have connection, your own connection to spirit or to the creator, whatever you subscribe to. You don't need anyone else to do it. You are the temple. Your heart is the altar, and your thoughts and your words and your mind is the wand. You're everything you need. So, hopefully, it helps somebody out there. That's why we do it. We love being of service. We're going to do another reading today. We're doing a celebrity today. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Okay, I did not know this celebrity. I didn't know him, and I feel really bad about that. But he came to me, and his name's Trevor Moore. And I'm not saying that he wasn't, like, just because I didn't know him, he wasn't like a celebrity or whatever. But he wasn't in it, the entertainment business, and five sex and helped. I'm not sure what that means, but thank you for being here. Thank you, Shannon. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Naz. So, Trevor Moore was a co-creator. He's done a lot actually. But he's the most known for a skit comedy called The Whitest Kids You Know. WY1. Yes, The Whitest Kids You Know. Why? Okay, I don't know why I can't say that. That's a weird brain block, but I was gonna abbreviate it. Let me write it down. Whitest kids you know. There you go. WKYK. I don't know. My brain could not do that. So his name's Trevor Moore. Thank you so much, Trevor Moore, for coming. Super appreciate it. I did have to do some research, but the reason why it came up is because I was I was scrolling on TikTok, going through, what's new, and that's where I get my news, TikTok, because I know that people are posting things that are really happening as opposed to like mainstream media. So, I like to, go through, see what pops up on my For You page for a little bit while I'm working out. And I got someone had posted one of his skits that he did with the whitest kids you know. And it was very interesting because I wonder how much of it was true. Because in the look, my throat, oh my gosh, my throat chakra. Excuse me. Let me do a little Herkimer cleanse. Please remove any energies that do not want me to speak at this moment. Archangel Michael, please remove any negative energies that are being projected to me psychically. Thank you so much. So, well, thank you. That's so much better. So I was watching this post, and it was basically a comedy sketch of the whitest kids you know, and they're doing a sketch about. Um, I actually have here payment about how the comedy guy Trevor Moore is in a meeting with the Illuminati, and Spirit said eight with eight Illuminati members. There's actually four. Horrific, Spirit said. Horrific. And and they're making a comedy out of it. They're laughing at it, but in the comedy sketch that Trevor Moore is and his the whitest kids you know are doing, Trevor Moore is being interviewed by the Illuminati to become the next biggest comedian. They're like, "Yeah, we really like your stuff. We think it's really influential, and we really want you to come on board and sign a contract with us." And the funny part about it was Trevor Moore was, acting as if it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, totally. I'm just, I'm excited to be here. And then he's like, "Where do I gotta sign?" So then, the panel of Illuminati members are like, "Oh, well, we just need you to do a couple things, before you sign the contract to ensure, our investments." And he's like, "Sure, what do I got to do?" And he's like, "Oh, well, you just have to do a lewd act with a minor on camera so we can catch it. So, if you ever decide to go tell or, tell things we do, then we can, we have our protection." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever, let's do it. Yeah, that's cool." And he's like, "Can I bring my own, or do you supply the youth?" And, just like, he obviously it has to be funny, but it's like how much of it is true, you know? They did have a comedy special, and then there were other things. They're like, "Oh, well, you have to," and I actually Spirit said Barith, which is in association with Baal, whatever his name is, um, which is which was in the skit. And the skit was like, "Well, we worship Satan, and we worship Baal, and you got to do an sacrifice." And they were making a joke out of it as like, "This is what you have to do to be in the industry." 11, thank you, Spirit. Spirit said 111. But you know, as time goes forward, we're learning that this could possibly be true. And so I was wondering, and then I looked up Trevor Moore because I'm like, wow, that's really controversial, to be like so blatant. And you can find that sketch on The Whitest Kids You Know on YouTube. You can only find that sketch for yourself and watch it. But he also had other very interesting, um, I don't want to call them leaks or insights, but ways to like kind of, insert perhaps truth into the comedy. And And a lot of it was very against, secrets, very much exposing a lot of things through comedy. And so I'm wondering what it made me wonder when I looked up him, and then I realized that he actually died. Four, oh my gosh, I saw four people in here, but I'll tell you about fours in 1 second. And so I looked him up, and he passed away on August 7th, actually, 2021, which is so funny because we're in August now, and I didn't know that he died in August. So he's definitely coming through. Um, and there wasn't a lot of information on how he died. It was basically, um, life, lewd acts to short-term fame. Yeah, potentially. And he was exposing it through his comedy. And I will say it was a funny skit. I was very amused. And I will also say a lot of his other comedy, like I could see it's like very specific for, it's like skits. So some of it's a little like outrageous for me, but I mean, he was a very funny person. Um, so, so correct. He's like, correct. I am a funny person. So we wanted to speak to him. We found out that he passed August 7th, 2021, by falling from a balcony and hitting his head. Trevor Moore from The Whitest Kids You Know. And I thought that was very interesting because there isn't any more information about him. Even the medical examiner said it was an accident. He could have potentially had a blood alcohol content that was over the legal limit. But I was watching interviews with him, or just like conversations with him, like right before he died. And that's the thing about energy, is that just because a person is showing you a certain face doesn't mean they're not going through something. Um, in the corners of the mind, yes. Spirit also said coin and Jack. So some of the names Spirit said today so far is Christopher and Jack, and Berith. Spirit also said fell, payment process, skinwalkers are tracking your every move. So very interesting. And then some other people that died by balcony that were famous was Liam Payne, which we did do a reading about, and Donny Hathaway, who was a singer, American black singer in 70s, I believe. He fell from the balcony too. So I'm like, and all of these were supposedly accidental. So I'm wondering if Trevor's was accidental. I mean, having so much material that exposes so much controversial topics, and him being famous and fall, like I don't know, that doesn't seem like it could be by chance. So we're going to talk to him. We're going to get his higher perspective of his linear view. I'm very excited to bring the message forward. Can you guys hear me okay? I've been having my kids keep coming and turning down the volume on my microphone, and I can't tell if it's up or down. So let me know if you're having a hard time hearing me. Coin carries an ominous presence. Okay. Tortured souls. Coin carries an ominous presence. Yeah, money. Yeah, money definitely carries an ominous presence. Okay, so then, so four. So he was born April 4th, 1980. That's 4444. Right? And then August is 8, which is 44. And then he passed, and there's controversy whether he passed on the 7th or the 8th. And there's 8 people in here. What if it was the 8th? That would have been 884488. Like what's going on? Fours and eights across the board. Okay. So I definitely think that's weird. And we've been noticing that there's like these numerical patterns with certain people who have passed. And so he was drunk and fell off his balcony. Yeah, that's what it said. But I mean, I don't know. How do you get to 41 being on tour and doing all these crazy things and then that's how you go out? And then there was also a joke that was made on the Joe Rogan show when he was on it before he passed, where Joe Rogan talked about dying by hitting your head jumping off a balcony. And so that's very, very strange as well, you know? I'm not saying Joe Rogan knew, but I'm just saying like the energy was rising in that, timeline of for that scenario. So that's how energy works. You can pick up on certain timeline manifestations and say them in really like general passing and not even know that you're predicting something, so it's very interesting. 11:1. So yeah, those are some of the things that I got. Let me just, and then if you want to like learn more about Donny Hathaway and Trevor Moore, you can visit Black Balloon on YouTube, BLAKK Balloon. He made a great video um, showing the similarities of these deaths. So yeah, so thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna start with the song that I got, which is funny because it's called Silence. I know, I know. It's called Silence. It's by Layla Blue, and it says 3 a.m. I said I would be in bed by 10, but then you said to come through. And of course I went, talked about nothing with a few fake friends just to be around you for a minute or two. So here I wait, half drunk in the drizzling rain, in jeans too tight for me to breathe. But you don't know a single thing, 'cause I'm screaming in silence. I can't say what's on my mind. Boy, you're singing like a siren, and it's keeping me awake at night. I wish you knew, but I'm never telling you. Oh, I'm screaming in silence, 'cause I don't want to hear you say you don't want me. Oh, yeah, and then he also died at 41. So that's just another 4. So I just had to throw that in there. So what I'm getting from this song is that it could be potentially referring to what was going on in his mind. Something that could have been keeping him up at night, something that he could have been breaking the silence on, or something that he could have been threatened, or he could have been told something. Um, on cheap speakers of a song I hate, remix plays on cheap speakers of a song I hate. Teardrops in the bathroom, don't know what to do, so I gloss my lips, remind myself that I'm a badass bitch, and I don't really need you till I believe that's true. But still I wait, half drunk in the drizzling rain. So what I'm getting is there could have potentially been 8. Oh my god, Spirit just said 8 again. I told you, ghosts of the past. So, and there's also payment process breath. And skinwalkers tracking your every move. So there, and I'll draw cards to like further clarify, but I'm getting something about some kind of payment fell through, or something about a process or an agreement with Barith about not receiving a payment, for about what happens when you don't follow through with the agreement or what was agreed upon, or you are not keeping up your end of the bargain type of deal. Um, you're tired of being around fake friends. You agreed to something a long time ago that maybe you're a half drunk about, but now it's constricting you. It's too tight for you to breathe. You don't know a single thing about what I agreed to, or, and then, it's funny because I was watching an interview with him and Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold, And he was like, before he had a child, back when he was, in the middle of doing his entertainment career and making these skits, he said his child is what made him shift his perspective of what's important. And before he wouldn't even have thought twice about death, and that he wasn't afraid of death, and he's like, whatever, I'll do whatever. I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid of, that. Which is like, yeah, classic young person. And then when you get a child, it all of a sudden makes you realize, maybe not have a fear of death, but like a fear of leaving people behind kind of thing. So something about him having a child and shifting his perspective for, what he wanted when he was 20, some agreement he made when he was 20 is not like transferring to now where he has where he has a child and stuff. So something about that. Spirit said Brian. Some of the names Spirit said was Jack, Christopher, and Brian. So those could be relevant. And then Berith, which is associated with Baal. So, and we all know who's associated with them, okay? So that's what I got. So very interesting. So we're going to draw some cards. Thank you so much, Trevor Moore, for being with us. Thank you so much to my spirit team. Archangel Michael, please bring Trevor Moore into my field. I invite him into my field with Archangel Michael for protection to bring us his perspective, his higher perspective of his linear view. Okay, so where do you want us to go first? Oh my gosh, he's so funny. Okay, sure. He wants me to do the cards for humanity. Okay. I feel like it fits. Or if you had two cards. I don't know, maybe I can like make them fit together or something. I don't know, how am I going to do this? Okay, I'll do cards for humanity first. An authentic 250-year-old George Washington turd. So George Washington was a president, so something about government, something about something that's been done for a long time, something that has been around for a long time. I see history right here in front of me, something throughout history. Time is a healer. Time is a healer. Something that something that's been infiltrated into our government and that or into our social economic structure that's been going on for a long time, that's old. Barfing mustard. Something that's strong, pungent, something that's nauseating, that's sick, that's backwards. Getting my butt stuck in a black hole. Something that you can't get out of. Something that he did possibly when he was 25. Something he thought he wanted. Something that took precedence over everything else. Something that advertising. Something that he couldn't advertise. Something that wounded him. Something that got him stuck in a black hole that made him feel like he couldn't tell anybody about it. My all-time favorite book is The Lion, the Witch, and The Setting Your Stuff on Fire with Your Mind. He could have had some kind of mindset where it was like all or nothing. ADD. Spirit said ADD. Disturbing symbols. disturbing symbols. He could have had some kind of focus or affinity or mindset where he had an idea and he just had to do it. Where he couldn't, he was like kind of had blindfold or not blindfold, maybe he had a blindfold on, but blinders, where he was very like, once he had an idea, it was very almost like obsessive, I guess. Like setting stuff on fire with your mind. Like he was so focused on what he wanted when he wanted it and how to get it, that if he found a way to do it, he would do it. Something like that. But this mindset that he had of being so, obsessed with um, getting something done. Um, when something presented itself, he didn't see it as a black hole at the time. Possibly because he was just 25 years old. He was a baby, immaturity wise. But he may have been introduced to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Um, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I know that that's a book, but in this situation, um, it makes me feel like it's referring to his mindset, like his manifestation abilities, like setting stuff on fire with your mind, like getting something that you want, even no matter what it takes. And if something comes to you, you're so dead set on it happening, you don't really care how it happens, kind of thing. Um, I don't know. Let's continue with that. It's having some kind of strong mindset. He could have possibly been like OCD or something. I do feel like like a really like, oh, like I gotta get this done, almost like an obsession. Former neighbor. I have a vampire here. I have a vampire with candy. It's funny because he, this vampire has like childlike, like funny things, like almost disguising him. Happy. Happy dad. So right now he's kind of making fun of the situation. He's wanting people to know that, like, he did something when he was younger that he thought would be funny, like he was always looking at things for, what comedic value it would have, even if it was like a dark humor. He was always looking for that, or he found humor in that. And so he was could have that's possibly why a lot of his comedy portrays like dark comedy, or what I would consider to be like more um satirical dark comedy, making things that aren't happy funny, something like that. It could have really been an energy attraction point for how he got to where he was, by by transmuting those dark topics or finding the humor in them. It may have brought some kind of black hole energy to him or something like that. But he wants people to know that he's fine. Um, he's happy. He's happy dead. Just his body's dead. So it's everything that um he always said he wasn't afraid of death. So I think that he's just kind of making fun of it right now, just like a happy vampire kind of like message, which is funny, which is like the ultimate like that feels like his energy, like a happy vampire. So we'll see. We'll continue. I'm not really sure how the vampire part plays in, but we'll see. You could have possibly felt like a clown getting my butt stuck in a black hole. Um, having to be a certain type of comedy, to wear a certain kind of mask to get his comedy scene, or to get out there, feeling like stuck, having to be a particular type of funny in order to be spread out to the masses through this the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, through this group, it's kind of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I didn't say this before, but I meant to say it. Kind of, it gives me the energy of that sketch where he was the clown, the comedian in front of the panel of the Illuminati members, and in in real life, or eventually over time, this could have been why he felt he was stuck, is he would do a lot of material, and only like part of it would get, okayed by Comedy Central or whatever, network he was with at the time. And so he started to feel like he had to, they could have put a lot of rules on him or something. Because in the skit, they joke about, well, we need you to create certain kind of skits to create influence so we can brainwash the society or whatever. And it was a joke, but at the same time, like, was it a joke? Here he's literally saying, like, no, it's not a joke. I mean, look how tired he is. He's like, I'm tired of being this clown. I'm trying to do other things, and I'm stuck in this box, getting my butt stuck in a black hole. So very interesting. Tell me more. Intensely staring into a horse's butt. Another butt reference, something about butts. Everyone in class pooping their pants at the same time. Intensely staring into a horse's butt. It kind of reminds me of that saying, looking a gift horse in the mouth. Everyone in class is pooping their pants at the same time. Everyone's doing it. There could have been something he did when he was 25 years old, that involved animals, and also involved this corporation, or president of a company, or something like that, that was intense, and something that he may not have ever experienced before. But there could have been a group, but everyone there was doing it. And so it's something that is been done for a long time, that's possibly ancient. I keep wanting to say the word ancient. Something that many people do at the same time. So some kind of ritual or something that could have involved horse, like an animal, and butts. I have butt twice, and I have pooping. So I'm not sure. I don't know much about those things that, they do, but if you go watch the comedy skit, he did refer to something that he would have to do to um, seal his fate with an agreement with them. So definitely coming up in the reading, which is very interesting. Bone to be wild. Bone to be wild. Something about skull and bones, or something about doing something wild that could have, if exposed, would be a death sentence. Something about that. Something about being a wild card.
Various colors. Resolution or revenge.
Resolution or revenge. Math camp. Math camp. So something that everyone did at the same time, possibly him as well, when he was 25. Something that changed the trajectory of his popularity. Something that may have gotten him more noticed. Something that wasn't adding up for the amount of math count. Something wasn't mathing.
Die.
Die.
Shortly after.
Shortly after. Angering the gods. I cannot make it up. So he was a wild spirit saying he was a wild card because I mean his numbers are 444, so definitely someone who is meant to be in the public eye, someone who is meant to bring, you know, truth up, someone who is meant to put some pieces together in a very like digestible way. But he was a wild card because he could have been targeted by this group, because it could go either way. It could have been something good for them because of his star alignment, or it could have, or if he decides to go rogue and be wild, he could start putting pieces together and that and anger the gods, and that would anger the gods. So he definitely was meant to take a path of being a wild card, of not really conforming, of not really taking or wanting to agree anymore to something that he could have did when he was 25. And this could have possibly angered the gods. Okay, tell us more. What up, witches? Yep, this group is the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So it's definitely a group of basically witches, um, of people who conjure up Barith or work with Barith and Baal. And the way, and I don't know the way it works, like exactly. I'm just learning from doing these reads of celebrities who are in, you know, who are around, who pass
Chilling.
on, chilling, and who are basically forced to do these things in order to solidify or agree, you know, to do certain things that are, you know, questionable to get famous, basically, which is absolutely ridiculous. You know, the fact that we can allow our entertainment industry to dictate who comes and goes, like shouldn't everybody have a chance based on their talent and what's needed for the part in order to, you know, be seen? Shouldn't everybody be seen? Why do they have to pick people who are willing to do these? Like, I don't understand it. It must be some kind of energy thing where, you know, those who control energy in this way have some kind of power or something. I really don't know. And that's why I like doing the readings, because I want to know, I want to understand, I want to be aware of what's going on. So, can you hex my crush? Hells no. No, Clorox bleach. No. And you shouldn't want that. If you want to hex confirmation, if you want to hex somebody, take that as a sign that you need to heal. Spirit said resolution or revenge. You need to resolve the issues you have and not seek out revenge. Okay? You gotta work on that. Boo. Let's do the laugh till you drink cards, because he did have an alcohol level in his blood. So tell me more. So tell me more about this angering the gods. What did you do? What did you do to anger the gods? Ooh. Spin in circles yelling, "I'm a washing machine," repeatedly. Something he tried to,
Woman embracing.
Mormon embracing, thank you, Spirit. Something that,
Cuddles.
something that he was trying to wash himself of. Something that, was something that made him spin in circles repeatedly, trying to wash himself off of something he did when he was 25, something that was catching up to him. He was pretend to, pretend you have to tell your target a secret, then suddenly blow in their ear. I cannot make it up. And the song is called Silence. So definitely breaking the silence on some kind of secret that was whispered into his ear about things that weren't supposed to be repeated. But he could have told somebody or started, or like I said, he started to make a lot of comedy that portrayed these things. Lay on the floor underneath your target and say to the group, "Hey, my name is Stevo, and this is the Nut Wrangler." Just like the song says, silence. And jeans too tight for me to breathe. I'm screaming in silence. I can't say what's on my mind, and it's keeping me awake at night. I wish you knew, but I'm never telling you. So he was very creative. So he was like, what's another way that I could say what I want to say without getting in trouble? I'll do it creatively because then you don't know if it's a joke or if it's for real. And so that was like a way that he was getting underneath the skin of these nut wranglers who are like, hey, you better lay off of the jokes and you know you're starting to blow up with these secrets being exposed in your comedy and we don't like it. And he's like, oh, I'm just, you know, a washing machine full of ideas and I can do some other stuff. But he could have been being threatened when he started to lay it on thick. Massage both of your target's earlobes while staring directly into their eyes.
Aquarius.
Aquarius.
Aquarius is my sign.
Hmm. Aquarius is my sign, Spirit says. While motioning to the target, say, "Welcome to the Price is Right. The first item is the beat ass hoe. Is the price over or under $5?" Hmm. Hmm. So something about becoming a target because whatever price he paid when he was 25 to um, get stuck in a black hole for his favorite pastime, for his comedy, made him a target because he came to a point where, you know, the price wasn't right. The price wasn't right. Um, there was no price that could swayed him to um, do something. I'm not sure what that is. And it says massage both targets' earlobes while staring directly into their eyes, which kind of reminds me of like mind control, you know, like some kind of weird um, handler or like someone who knows how to talk you down off a ledge or someone who um, understands psychology to be able to, um, you know, bend your mind and manipulate your mind, something like that. Like almost like hypnotized. Um, because it was angering the gods that he didn't have a price tag anymore. You know, in the sketch they were like, you know, we'll pay you this amount, but then you have to do this, this, and this, and that's where this tired clown comes in. Hi, Lisa. Good morning. Thanks for being here. This tired clown comes in, and he's starting to get tired of um, not being able to do what he wants to do. Throatily. Spirit said throatily.
I'm embarrassed.
So he may have been very vocal about him wanting to move on or be able to do what he wanted to do, but he's underneath a nut wrangler. They wrangle in your ideas and make them say, well, don't do it this way, do it this way, because they want to influence the target of the society in a very specific way. And so
You will
once
not.
you will not. And so
Those
um
are ghosts.
he started to become aware that this isn't something he wanted anymore. He passed at 41 and he had a family. And so his whole idea of what he wanted could definitely changed since he was 25, but he already did something where um he had to pretend to keep a secret that he couldn't tell anybody, but he wanted to. And so since they started to blackball his ideas, he was like, well, what's another way that I can, creatively get back at them, but still like be necessary in the public eye, like still get them numbers. And it was exposing some of their things. Act as if you are about to perform a bris on your target. I don't know what a bris is, so I'm just gonna look that up real quick. Spirit also said accursed, which I know what a curse is, but I was like, what is a curse? So I looked it up and it says, under a curse, the angel of death walks this accursed house. So definitely having a curse or some kind of binding um, that was attached to him that he couldn't like get out of, some kind of agreement, because he didn't want to pay. Oh, what? I saw eight. A Jewish religious ceremony that involves the circumcision of a male infant on the eighth day of his life. I'm telling you, fours and eights are really big in this reading. I'm not really sure why, but it keeps coming up.
Died. My grave.
My grave. So he may have tried to. There was something going on because he didn't want to pay. He didn't want to go through with some kind of payment, or he went against an agreement he made when he was 25. He was in the process of that agreement is if you don't continue making the payment towards us, then something happens. There could have been a point of time in his life where he was like, I'm over this. I don't want to do this anymore. The price isn't right anymore for this first item that it used to be right at 25, but now I'm trying to wash myself clean of these witches, of what I did with these witches. Something that was inverted, something that got my butt stuck in a black hole, something that made him feel like a clown. Trevor Moore. We're talking about Trevor Moore from The Whitest Kids You Know. He passed away in 2021 by falling off a balcony, but he made a lot of controversial comedy skits about the Illuminati and making agreements and 9/11 and just like lots of things that he was revealing truths about that could have possibly been associated with why he passed away. Some other people that passed away in the public eye by falling from a balcony is Liam Payne and Donny Hathaway. So very interesting. So we're just trying to speak to him to see if there's any correlation. Make a song by slapping your own ass. Oh, that refers to the song. Yes. Let me go back to the song. So the song is Silence. So definitely something about him not being silent. He kept not being able to say directly what's on his mind and screaming in silence. So making performance art, making sketch songs and things like that to be able to I didn't know him either until I was brought that skit he made about the Illuminati and making an agreement in the entertainment industry and all the things that they require you to do if you're going to be part of the entertainment industry. You can definitely look that up and watch it. It's on the Whitest Kids You Know YouTube channel. It says
You are right.
deal with the Illuminati. Spirit just said you are right. You can definitely
Rebecca.
look it up. Some names that I was getting, there's Christopher, Jack, Brian, and Rebecca. So, the price, so, but he changed at some point because he did something when he was 25. And that could have been what he was referring to in the comedy sketch. And in the comedy sketch, what I found funny about it is the eagerness of which the person, who's getting the deal, him, he was the comedy guy. He's acting like it's nothing, They're like, "Oh, you'll have to perform a lewd act with a minor and we'll have to film it." And he's like, "Okay, well, do I provide my own youth or do you?" And they're like, "Oh, we'll do it." And he's like, "Well, can I do my own video or do I have to come here?" And they're like, "Well, we prefer it if you come here," making a joke about it, but at the same time, like, having a very like nonchalant attitude about it, like, "Oh, it's not a big deal," because it kind of reminds me of what he said in his last interview with Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold, where he was like, "Yeah, I had a child, and that kind of shifted my perspective for what's important to me. And before I had a child in my 20s, I didn't even care about death. I was like, I'll do whatever because, I don't fear death. I don't
The
fear
carrier
anything."
far away.
And so, in that
Jesse.
mindset, you can agree to do things that, like, for example, atheists. I'm not saying you can't be an atheist, but often atheists will do questionably moral, immoral things because they don't believe that there's anything after. Like, what does it matter? We're just going to be, in a black hole and turn to nothing. So I can do whatever I want and nothing's going to matter. It's kind of like that kind of vibe. That was him at 25. But fast forward to now where he has a kid and he already made this agreement with Barith or Baal. Um, there's something about when you don't follow through with what you agreed upon, the things that happen to people who pretend that they won't tell a secret, but they're definitely under pressure to release that information. They don't want anyone to be a loose wire, to be a wild wire. They want to cut all loose ends. If you are not doing whatever this act is of payment, and it could be an energetic payment, it could just be, worship, you have to go to like a meeting once a month and do something crazy with them. I don't know what it is, but it is part of the process. And if you are coming to a point where the price isn't right anymore, where you're like, "No, there's no price tag that makes me want to continue doing this. I have a family now. I want to, do things differently." That's not an option. That's not part of the agreement. So there's something about him slapping his own ass because he's been forced to perform, um, as if, everything's okay, and he's screaming in silence. So there's something that he's scared about.
Gazing eyes.
Gazing eyes. And look right here
They help you communicate.
again. Spirit just said gazing eyes and massage both of your target's earlobes while staring directly into their eyes. Let me see how can I clarify that? Let me see. Let me do the stare cards. Maybe we can get some symbology. Um, Tell me more. Oh, that came out quick. Oh my god, so in the song it says, um, "It's been keeping me awake at night. I wish you knew, but I'm never telling you because I'm screaming in silence because I don't want to hear you say you don't want me." So, and there's also two owls here, which, we all know that owls have to occult when comes to the occult have to do with, um, the first thing that comes to mind is, um, the hell? What's the name of that? Bilderberg group. There's two owls here, and there's two children, and a little puppy, and there's a clock. Hmm. Something about affecting his child and his wife, possibly. Possibly nightmares or things happening at night or seeking out some kind of protection. He could have possibly went the opposite way of what he did when he was 25 and started trying to find ways to overcome this curse he put on himself through this group, which is essentially what they're doing. They're like cursing anyone who, works with them so that way if they ever leave the group,
Fashionably.
you know, something will go wrong for them because they
Possibly.
possibly because they curse themselves. Um, some when he started showing signs of wanting to separate from this group, they could have been coming and spying on them. It says right here, skinwalkers tracking your every move. But you have to understand when it comes to Barith and Baal and these energies, and it's not to scare you. You don't have to be scared at all, and that's the whole point. When you are a match to this kind of energy, when you have guilt or shame or demons in yourself that are not healed, then those energies will send you intrusive thoughts and they're not going to affect you physically but non-physically through your thoughts, through your fears, through your insecurities, through your guilt, through your shame. And what it will make you do is, because you don't know about
A
energy,
woman is screaming
like she said, a woman is
outside.
screaming. I'm screaming in silence. What it will do is it will make you drink. It'll make you do drugs. It'll make you do anything to not listen or to not think about whatever it is that is your fear. Um, so for Trevor, um, his fear could have been, getting all his success taken away, or being, having rumors or gossip spread about them, ruining his career, or his family finding out whatever he did when he was 25, when he was a dumb kid. Um, he definitely didn't want to lose everything that he worked hard for, that, he was given in this energy. And that's the thing about it, is that you do get successful. Look at anybody who's blowing up right away, that's just all over the place. You have to question, what did they do to get there? And I'm not saying that they had to do anything or that they would have done anything in a different circumstance other than just be talented, but we're showing you that the entertainment industry does not care about your talent. They want to take your innocent talent, your golden divine talent, and they want to invert it for their own selfish needs, for whatever this is. And that's what they do. They gatekeep people who are actually talented, and they suck them dry, because they're always trying to, keep them under their watchful eye, so they don't share the type of way they receive their power, their influence. And we're very excited to bring, these topics forward because we're not taught as a society about energy. And that's really what the currency of the universe is energy, because everything's energy. And so understanding energy, even here on the physical plane, and how it plays out through our own perspectives and through our own ignorance and our own naivety, is very interesting, because we're going into an energy that will require you to be more mindful. You will need to have this higher perspective of the way things work in order to move forward in this energy, because these people who have ruled for a long time, possibly since ancient times, or for a large cycle of time, that type of
the harbinger of
the
change.
harbinger of change, thank you, that type of energy, it doesn't match where we're going forward into. And I'm literally talking about frequency and vibration. They're two different frequencies. And so that's why a lot of God is speaking to a lot of the readers and a lot of the people on YouTube who are actual prophetic readers, who are messengers, who are oracles, and we're receiving all of these messages. Now, we might not know, we might not be able to say directly like who they are and names and ages, but it's energy. So there's definitely people doing these things, and it's usually a secret. Nobody talks about it, and so these are the things that, these are the ways in which God can reveal truth. And so we have to understand that if we didn't have a need to be famous or well known, and we could actually like be our own promoters and use social media to like obtain our own uh, popularity and attract people who like, whatever your content is. You don't need these powers. You don't need them to help you. You don't need them to gatekeep you. You can do it yourself. And so th- we're not going to need these powers anymore eventually. And that's kind of like what's going on here is that Trevor Moore played a big role, because his birthday is 4444, played a big role in being a catalyst
Tribes.
for breaking these cycles. And and he definitely wanted to break the cycle, but some of the things that kept him in the cycle was not wanting to lose everything. And that's kind of part of the deal. Like if you gain merit and success and fame by doing something that's inauthentic to your true soul's essence, that goes against creator, that goes against your natural, divine energy, and you gain success and fame in that way, and then you want to let go of the way you did that, it's going to come back to you because that's the way you got it. And so you're going to have to reconcile those emotional blockages that keep you connected energetically, that keep you a match to what you did then. Um, because it's two different energies. So you have to be able to reconcile and forgive yourself and ask for forgiveness for whatever you did when you were 25. Fast forward to 41 and you're like regretting what you did and you feel like you're stuck in your black hole and you can't tell anybody, and they're coming after you and they're affecting you on the astral plane, and so you're having nightmares and your kids having nightmares, and there's things happening that you can't explain, but you can't tell anybody why you did it because then everybody would leave you and you'll lose everything. You have to choose. You're going to have to lose everything that you gained in that energy so you can start in a new energy. And that's the what we spirit said torment. That's the torment that binds people to this energy, that keeps them susceptible to when the energy comes and pushes you off a ledge, or goes inside your head and crawls inside your head with an intrusive thought to jump off the ledge, is because you're usually on a substance which lowers your protection. You haven't forgiving yourself or let go of all of the things you gained in that energy. You can't keep things you gained in that energy, in that lower energy, and then bring it with you into a high energy. You just can't do that. So you have to be willing to lose everything, but most people aren't willing to lose everything.
Betty.
They're like, I already got this far and I can't start over. That's a limited mindset. But you can't bring all of this, all of the things you have into a new energy when you got them in a negative way. You have to release all of it. And so a lot of people aren't willing to do that. So he was slapping his own ass because that's what was making him stuck. It was like a constant loop of stuckness. So he could have possibly tried to get some kind
Cut
of
torment.
information to or help.
Go backward.
Go backward. Thank you so much, Spirit. He could have possibly tried to go back to the blackboard. Well, how can I change it? How can I fix it? How can I transmute it? How can I undo the binding, undo the curse? Um, how can I, redirect it? I also have December 14th right here. It says December 14th on the blackboard. He was possibly trying to go back to square one, or he was told you're going to have to lose everything if you want to let go of this energy, because you can't keep all the good parts and not the bad parts too, because it's both at the same time. And so he it could have been something that he just was
Ravens.
not willing to do, or didn't know how to do, or couldn't understand how to do, or didn't believe that that's what had to be done. Look, no hands.
Wonderful. Violence.
He thought he had control of something. Oh my gosh, look at this person. Look at their hand. Look how their hand is positioned. Look at that. Do you see that? Hmm. I think something that really stuck with him, that he regretted, that made him a match to this energy and not able to like forgive himself, was the people he led down this path. The people that he talked into following him into this path, where that brought him the most guilt, because he was associated with this group. He got a deal, and he thought it was a good thing at the time.
A forgotten area.
He thought it was a good idea at the time to bring in his friends or associates or whoever he was close to be part of this, what he thought at the time was success. He thought it was a good deal. Um, but he
Quote.
wasn't, but he didn't have as much control as what they allowed him to think he had. So his face is green, like a heart, like the heart chakra. So he had good intentions. He really just wanted, to share the wealth and share his, success with people he cared about, people who may not have had an opportunity to go down that road. So that's one thing that he's showing me right now that he regrets, because he was really, really leading them into a pit of crocodiles. But he didn't see that at first. He didn't see it that way. He just saw, like I said, he has some kind of like OCD, or he had some kind of like OCD where he was like when he was so focused on something, like he was like he had like blinders on. He couldn't exactly see all of the road, the fault, the the pits, the fall pits of what he was getting into. But he was also 25, so it's like, you know, hindsight is 2020 when your perspective changes because you have a child now and you realize what's really important to you. Um, yeah, it's like, and there's also something about him having children and a family, and like having this association with something that's so negative and so dark, and not wanting them to be a part of it, not wanting them to like have to like be bound to them either. So there's something about that. Um, okay. What else? So tell me about the night that you passed. What happened that night? Nightmare. I cannot make it up, you guys. I can't make it up.
I can't make it up. Suffering, darkness, persecution. When you make a deal with Barith or these type of energies, you have to agree to something. Something, look at, you have to agree. I don't know exactly like what the agreement is, but I know that if you don't make the payment, if you go through the process and you fall through with the payments, whatever those payments may be, it may be energetically, it may be he could have possibly, if you have a child during your success, you have to give it over to Barith. That could have been something he had to do, and he was like, that could have given him nightmares. That's not. It was something that he regretted doing that he couldn't get out of. I cannot make it up. So instead of, wow, oh my gosh, to break the curse that he created for fame and fortune, to break the curse, he knew that he was gonna die. He knew that the payment was death, at least, to not have it carry over to his children. So he could have made that choice, but in the leading up to that choice, he could have had a lot of nightmares. He could have been having lots of supernatural experiences that were frightening, that scared him, that were a nightmare. That could have been why he was drinking towards the end, is because it was like so hard to, it was so scary. And that's what they do. They prey on the things that you're scared of most, and they put those thoughts in your head, and then you don't know how to transmute them or separate yourself from them, because we don't know about energy. And he chose death over continuation is what happened. he the If you want to stop the curse, if you want to stop the curse from continuing, once he cursed himself, he cursed friends that followed him. He's like, no, this ends with me. So there's something about it when he reaches a certain age that it would end. And he knew that that was going to happen. He didn't know how.
When I died,
When I died. Spirit just said when I died. He didn't know when it would happen or how it would happen, and so that was really scary too, because he knew a strategy. He knew that that was part of the deal. He's like, well, this ends with me. So he knew that he was going to die, but he just didn't know when. So he was possibly, lost. Thank you so much. Bereavement, sorrow. He possibly told his family or set up everything so when the time came, everything would be all set and no one would have to worry, because he knew that this was part of the deal. If you don't want to if you don't want to continue doing the things that we say are necessary to stay in the spotlight and not die, then you die. That's the agreement, okay? That's the agreement you make. So he knew that. He didn't want to do it anymore. He didn't want to pass it to his children. So he's leaving little clues of evidence. He was leaving evidence here and there with his celebrity. He's like, well, if I know that I'm going to die anyway, I'm going to find a creative way to I'll reveal truth, even if it's through comedy. And so that's what he did. Proof. Right here. Evidence. That's what he did. That's what he did. So, even, yeah, because he didn't want it to affect the people he cared about. And so that's what he did. He wanted to make it right. What he did. He wanted to make it right. And he promised he would. And he didn't want to collaborate with these people anymore because he cared about his family. He cared too much about his family because his
Walter,
perspective changed. And so he made an agreement
vision,
to make an alliance with the divine and to break the curse in that way, because he didn't want his family to be homeless. He didn't want to break away and lose everything. So it was a choice. Um, I mean, he didn't choose to die. He just knew he was going to die. The choice was either you lose everything and you have to start from square one, even your family, and you can stay alive and you can, somehow make it through, or your family can be, well off with what you've gained so far, and then the agreement is your head, and then the curse is broken. So a lot of people don't choose that, and they want to stay forever. They're afraid to die because they're afraid of things they've done. But his choosing to make merit, to choose his life over, is the sacrifice he made in order for his family to not have the curse passed on to them. So that's what broke the curse. Is it kind of reminds me of Constantine, the movie Constantine, where he was um he did so many things. He knew he was going to hell, and so his very last hurrah was when he sacrificed himself for the woman. He's like, take me instead. And in that merit making, in that sacrifice where he self-sacrificed himself to save someone else, that brought him back into divine energy. Oh, come through, spirit. So he actually broke the curse off of himself. Oh, I love that. Savings, yeah, saving himself. And he sends his apologies to everyone that he got involved with this. He sends his apologies. He sends his apologies. And he knows that they could be going through fright, they could be going through illnesses, and supernatural disturbances,
Rise.
and tiredness, and things are going
Heart
on.
attack.
Heart attack. Yeah, a lot of his friends could possibly be wanting to,
Down.
um, or could be possibly going through certain supernatural things, but he wants them to know that he's sorry for dragging them into this. But ultimately they chose to, so it's not completely his fault. But he's there with them. He's there with them, um, helping them with their goals, helping them with their confinement if they're having a hard time right now, having stress. Just know that it's okay. You can get out of it. You can lose everything or you can self-sacrifice. So yeah, thank you so much, Trevor Moore. As far as like what happened when he died, like
It's a bad omen.
it's a bad omen. Um, like I
Fourth house.
like I said, he knew he was gonna die. He just didn't know when, where, or how. And so the stress of that made him a real energetic match to the fear of it. And he would drink. He would be drinking. And so something that night um, caused him to have some kind of intrusive thought, or like he was being chased, or like he was being attacked by something he couldn't see, something supernatural, because that's what he was up against. And he's telling us right now that he had already made an agreement that he was going to go, but he just didn't know how. And so he was just, whatever happened that night was just some kind of manifestation of his fear. Okay. That made him more susceptible to it because of his state of mind, his beliefs, his connection to this entity, and his um, substance use, alcohol use. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Spirit. Thank you so much to Trevor. I truly appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow we're going to do a true crime. So if you want to be here with us, we'll be here tomorrow morning and we'll see you then. Okay. Bye.